I'm running out of gas. Now I'm gonna have to manifest that I make it to a gas station. Start to surge. Oh my God, my engine just cut off. What's up, YouTubers? Just wanted to film another one of these videos. It's been a while since I've done this. I'm gonna talk about something that has been blowing my mind and has been so good for me. But before I get into that, I want to do a few announcements. You can follow me on Discord. That community is growing fast. Please get on there. You know, it's like a forum. We chat, just have a great time. Patreon for tips. You can check out other links in the description, such as for merch and all of that kind of stuff. I want to get an Amazon affiliate program going, so please check the description for that. That's one way that you can support me. You know, that doesn't cost you anything. And being the tool connoisseur that I am, you know that if it's on there, it's going to be something good. Because either I buy it and I don't like it and I modify it, or I buy it and it sticks with me, and so it's the best of the best. Anyways, without further ado, let's get into it. Please like and subscribe. I've been forgetting to say that, and honestly, I need to. It helps out the channel, and it's just something. It's such an easy way to support me. Just smash that like button. It's so easy. Anyways, let's get into it. Where to start? All right. So, and I'm going to try to take this from two different angles. It's in the category of spirituality, which in the trade world, I've been surprised. I've found people that are spiritual to the point that it surprises me, and then other people that are almost anti-spiritual. So, I'm going to try to give some different versions of this, because the truth is, it works. It just straight up works. Now you can understand it from a spiritual angle or a psychological angle, and truly there's tons of overlap between the two anyways. But what we're going to talk about today is the imagination and manifestation. Now, if you follow my other channel, get this out of the way, it's annoying me. If you follow my other channel, which is a podcast, link in the description again. The first podcast I did was with the homeless guy out in Wisconsin, I think. So, I get to talking to him and start to get to know his spiritual journey, which is truly incredible. I mean, you want to hear a wild story of awakening, check out that first podcast. But then in the second podcast, he starts talking about manifestation, and someone who's been influential in his life is Neville Goddard. My mentor also loves Neville, and I've been reading some of his books. They're kind of repetitive, but and I don't necessarily agree with everything, which is good. Even what I'm saying here, you don't need to agree with it. I mean, who cares? We got to get out of this binary thinking of this is all good or all bad. Every teacher that comes across your path, you take what resonates and you leave what doesn't. Well, why wouldn't you? If you try to force something upon yourself that you're not resonating with, it's going to warp your vibration. And I'm using these words which are hyper spiritual, or they're not hyper spiritual. These are simple words, but people have made them hyper spiritual. When I'm talking about vibration, I'm talking about your energy. We all understand this. When you walk into a room, you read people, right? And people read you. Are you in a bad mood, a good mood? That's what I mean by vibration. It's the essence of what you're putting out. Are you approachable? Are you not approachable? Now, My personal belief is that there's more to it than just that it goes beyond just rudimentary psychology, but that's my personal belief. These are getting outside of the realms that science can deal with. Science by nature is a study of the three-dimensional realm, so how can you use it to study things of a higher dimension? Now, why am I convinced that there's something behind the three-dimensional realm? That's a long story. Many stories. I've had so many wild, off-the-chart experiences, as have many other people. I'm not alone in that at all. Yeah, there's definitely something beyond this tangible, just whatever it is that we're touching and interacting with on a daily basis. Definitely something more out there. So back to Seth Champion and that interview. So I start learning about manifestation, and I'm trying it out, and it's working. And I'm like, whoa. This is surprising, as I have often been surprised by a lot of these esoteric things. When I say esoteric, that word just means hidden, and I'll go off on a bit of a tangent here. So a lot of people are very familiar with Eastern traditions like Hinduism, Buddhism, and things like that. Now in the West, you have Christianity for sure. So that's a big pathway, and for me personally, if I could have only one pathway, it would be that one. Like if I could have only one source of enlightenment, it would be that one. That one is so potent, and Jesus Christ is so oh man, it's such a perfect pattern. So perfect. I want to do a separate episode just on him. But I digress. There is another pathway, very less, hence the esoteric nature, but very, very hidden. To the point that not many people have heard about it, but that's changing a lot, and that is magic. Now, when I say magic, I don't mean pulling bunnies out of a hat. I mean magic with a K. This is a whole. Wow. Let me just say, when you start digging into it, wow, this is a whole world, like a whole universe that I didn't even know existed. But to be honest, I got real deep into it and realized it's all just the same thing. I can get the same thing right out of the Bible. In fact, I would consider the Bible one of the greatest magic books that's ever been written. So manifestation and all of that, yes, it's in the Bible, but it's also really thoroughly fleshed out in the magic traditions, so it's just hard to get to. Everything is so cryptic. I started getting into that by reading tons of old books. We're talking about books, some of them were like in the 1700s. These are texts that, to be honest, I feel like I was just led to them divinely, because they're so hard to acquire, like hard to acquire. And as I started reading these texts and unlocking them, which is extremely difficult, everything's written in a type of code, lots of symbols, lots and lots of symbols. I mean, you really have to you really have to be good at pattern recognition. But it's not just that, as the adage says, when the student is ready, the teacher will appear. And that can be frustrating to hear on the front end when you feel ready and the teacher is not there. Oh, I remember those days. Very, very painful. But be patient. As you are ready, you put out a type of attraction that the universe must fulfill. It must fulfill just as much as, like, if you were to jump off a roof, gravity must fulfill its obligation. So it's kind of like that, except the laws in the spiritual realm are a bit foggier in the way that they fulfill themselves, and that is just because we don't have perfect sight. So it's hard enough to see what's going on in here anyways, and it's even harder to understand kind of like how it manifests. But as you get clearer sight of your inner universe, you will start to see these things correlate and flow and all of those things. Basically, you'll start to see the fulfillment of what all of these high-level enlightened teachers have been talking about. Okay, so I'm getting into this stuff and I'm trying it out and it's working. All right, I'm gonna share my version, what I found on my expedition into the esoteric, unknown wilderness jungle of of hidden knowledge. And just take it however. I'll probably put it in spiritual terms first because that's what I love the most, and then we'll step back and just put it in simple psychological terms so that you can take it at any level you desire. Okay, so the first thing is, I'm just going to share my journey. A lot of us have heard about manifestation, creating your own reality, because there's a ton of people out on YouTube, doing shorts, social media, and all this kind of stuff. Look at this house, I'm manifested. Look at this, and it's like that never resonated with me at all. In fact, there was something about it I felt a bit repulsive because now some of that is my psychology, my resistance to blessing, because I was raised in a very, very strict form of Christianity that was all about suffering. And my life has been exorbitant amounts of suffering. Like, I'm in therapy right now, just working through this stuff. I'm talking about deep cutting trauma. So where was I going with that? Okay. I can't even remember. Let's just back up. Okay, the YouTubers talking about, I got this house, I got all this money, I got this huge influence. Okay, the question really becomes, is that what you want? A lot of people think that's what they really want. And I'm here to tell you that that's not what you really want. And the reason that I can say that is because at the core, that seed of the divine that's down in you, that's down in me, and in everyone else, all wants the same thing. And that can be summarized many different ways, but I love using the fruits of the Spirit. That's what you want. Love, peace, joy, etc. That's really what you want. Do you want a mansion? Do you want influence? Do you want nice cars? Do you want women? Fuck no. You don't want any of that. And let me just go down a rabbit trail. When you start getting into magic, know this thing or you'll be extremely confused. The will. If you come across the phrase, do what thou wilt, do not misinterpret that. The will is predicated on love. love, true love, like agape, God love. That, whatever is built on that firm foundation is a house that will stand, and that is true will. So, I decided that instead of manifesting all that crap, I would just manifest things like love, peace, and joy. And did these very simple imaginations where I just imagined myself in love, peace, and joy. And lo and behold, there it is. It just started flowing into my life more and more to the point that it's a daily practice for me now, and I love it. I love it. This is not like, praying 3 hours a day to keep the devil away and all, fasting and all this. This is legitimately wonderful stuff. Because what is better than having a wonderful daydream, playing the best movie in your head that you can possibly play, loving that, and then getting to love it out in the world. Now, it's not a one-for-one type manifestation, and I think you go wrong when you try to do that. I'm going to manifest this Ferrari. Just stop. Because here's the thing, you can, as certain people have, whose names I will leave unmentioned at this point, manifest things with a type of dark magic, if I can say it that way, although that phrase is not quite adequate. You can manifest things that aren't actually your true will, and this is where you need to be very careful. You need to really know what you want, and be healed enough to do that. As long as you're thinking you want revenge and bitterness and all of this type of stuff, you're not healed enough to manifest things in a way that is going to go well. It would be like a builder having a torn shoulder, and they want to build this particular house and it just keeps tearing them apart trying to build it. You need to be whole and healthy, and then you can build the thing which you were made to build. And when you build that thing that you were made to build, there's a sense of deep fulfillment that you just can't get anywhere else. You can't get anywhere else because there's nothing in the three-dimensional realm that fits it, that is a key that fits that lock. Okay? So I might digress there on the teaching, but let me just give a few practical examples. And let me go into the psychology. So here's the thing. Let's say that you have someone in your life that causes, this is a person that you don't particularly like interacting with. Now, let me ask you this. How does your imagination go before that interaction? Before you even open your mouth or you even see that person, how does the imagination go? You might be driving to the job site and the imagination goes like this. Man, I'm going to see this guy and he's going to piss me off. And what happens? That exact thing happens. Because you put yourself, you're already in your body and just in yourself. There is not much of a distinction between what you're imagining and what's actually happening. This is why you can wake up from a nightmare and feel like it happened and be panicked until you remember it was just a nightmare. And your body is responding like it actually happened. So when you live out these imaginations in your mind about how bad your day is going to go, how bad this conversation with this person's going to go, how bad it is going to, to work with this coworker, how bad this job's going to be, you're actually priming yourself to enter in. That's the energy you're bringing in. It's the filter that you're going to use to it's the bias that you're going to use to judge everything, so like if you and this bias has been well proven in psychology. It's like if all of a sudden I decide I really really want like a blue Bronco, I'm going to be seeing those everywhere, right? Well, that may be a little rare, but you know what I'm saying. If I really really decide that I want this particular vehicle, I'm going to start seeing it everywhere. That's that filter. So if you really, really decide that your day's going to suck, guess what? You're going to take notice of everything that sucks, and you're going to miss everything else. You're going to miss the smells. You're going to miss the weather. You're going to miss the smiles. You're going to miss the random pleasant interaction that you had with some nurse walking past you. You're gonna miss the now. You're gonna miss everything. So basically everything is a glass half full and half empty, because simultaneously within the same container, which is your movie screen that you're interacting with the world, within that same container there exists both good and evil, both half empty and half full. And so the process of awakening and enlightenment involves distilling out of that the water, like what is half full. And so if you want to disregard everything spiritual that I've said, one thing that you can do is I'm running out of gas. Now I'm going to have to manifest that I make it to a gas station. I got 0 miles to empty, buddy. Okay. I didn't notice that. All right. Anyways, if you want to throw out everything that I just said as far as spirituality, just take it at a psychological level. Take all of the research that's been proven on how you can bring certain energies into a situation, and it becomes a self-fulfilling process. Your brain will literally look for that thing. And so by setting your mind to for love, peace, and joy, by setting that intention, you will find that you will see that, you will touch that, you will connect with that, and all of those things. There's nothing woo about it, although I feel like to really understand it, you need language beyond psychology, and that's where the spiritual language comes in. We need language that can delve deeper into deeper dimensions in order to really talk about that. That's just my personal preference. Okay, so I would just encourage everyone who's listening to make a practice of this. And you don't have to start with the biggest pain in your ass, right? Just start with your wife or your husband or your kids or whoever. Start with someone that's safe, and start very simple, very, very simple. Just imagine the simplest little ray of light coming into your inner core. Just imagine that burning. Imagine that light getting brighter. Imagine yourself feeling happier, more at peace, more joy. Just a little bit. We're not talking about getting to the point where you can imagine yourself on ecstasy or something. That's not even something I could do. I don't know what that feels like. It just little. Remember, Jesus said, like a grain of mustard seed can move mountains. Just little changes, and you need to commit to it for at least 3 days, but you'll find that as you start to enjoy this, it'll be easier and easier to commit to where it just starts to flow. Now, when I say 3 days, that's going to be 3 hard days. Like, you need to purge your mind from all the junk food shit that it's been feasting on. And I say that with all the love in the world, because when I went to clean my mind out, and it's an ongoing process, it really, I need to make that clear that this is something I'm going to do for the rest of my life. But when I first got started working on this project, it was like you ever seen that show Hoarders, especially the one with the rabbits, the house that's got like 100 rabbits and they've eaten holes through the door and the walls and like there's fucking turds everywhere. Yes, that's what my thought life was like. So remember that as you're purging this stuff out. But it's amazing how much sneaky fear and negativity and those kind of things get into here. And if you wanted to distill it all down, you might just be able to say that it is actually fear. Like that's what it is. There's a point where I realized that the opposite of love is probably not hate or anything like that. It's fear. And it's interesting that in 1 John it says that perfect love casts out all fear. Now, think about that. So, if you're in love, there is no fear. Meaning that you need to throw out a lot of the baggage in Christianity. Perfect love casts out all fear. You need to throw out a lot of what the Catholic Church was preaching, because perfect love casts out all fear. But it's this love that you want to laser focus on, and that, oh man, it worked! I'm pulling into a gas station and I'm starting to surge. Oh my God, my engine just cut off and I'm coasting to the pump. I'm going to show you this. Manifestation, yes! Oh shit! Whoa, come on now, come on. Oh, I'm right there. Yes! Wow, that was incredible. Okay, oh boy, let me turn this around. Okay, I'm probably going to do no cuts on this. How do I? Okay, I'll just do it like this. No cuts, so you can see. Come on. My engine just shut off. There I am right there. All right, manifestation. Whoop. Manifestation. Try it out.